Today I'll be explaining the exact mechanics of how out-of-bound timers work. If you saw my infinite OOB video, then your understanding is almost complete. If not, then check it out because everything in that video still works to some degree. Shortly after posting that video, Respawn introduced another timer intended to nullify the exploits. So, let's cover the two different timers and their rules. Timer 1 is the one that starts at 15 seconds. This is the one you know oh so well. Whenever you're out of bounds, this timer will count down, insta-killing you once it reaches 0. Once you go below 5 seconds, your timer will reset to 5 seconds each time you exit then re-enter an out-of-bounds area. However, there is a short waiting period. You can't just continuously jump in and out of bounds to reset your timer. This timer resets back to 5 seconds every 5 seconds you stay in bounds. So if done perfectly, you can stand out of bounds until your timer almost hits 0, then stand in bounds for 5 seconds, then return out of bounds and repeat. So the key points for the primary timer are, it starts at 15 seconds, once it goes below 5 seconds, it'll reset back to 5 seconds each time you stay in bounds for 5 seconds. Now let's talk about the second timer, which isn't actually displayed anywhere. This timer was put in place to counter the OOB exploits from Season 15. We're going to call this the invisible timer for simplicity's sake. So how does it work? The invisible timer lasts for 5 seconds and begins ticking when you are in an out-of-bounds area but are not yet touching the ground. For instance, if you Valk hover above an out-of-bounds area, you will see no timer for 5 seconds. After the 5 seconds are up, the original 15-second timer appears. So what counts as out of bounds when you're not actually on the out-of-bounds surface? All out-of-bounds surfaces have an invisible barrier above them, where if you're within its bound, the 5-second timer will be active. Additionally, game devs are not perfect, so you may find some areas that activate the invisible timer when you're not even above an out-of-bounds surface. The barrier dimensions depend on the area, so you'll want to do a little research before you push the limits. Some are only a meter high, whereas others can be up to 200 meters tall. And so you know, the invisible timer does have a reset time. Once your timer disappears completely, you'll have to wait 15 seconds until the invisible timer recovers its cooldown. Any sooner and your 15-second timer will continue from its previous time remaining, or reset to 5 if you exhausted it then waited for the original timer's cooldown. Now that we've covered how the timers work, let's talk about what you can and can't do while they're active. The invisible timer has no impact on functionality whatsoever. You can do anything as long as you haven't landed on the out-of-bounds surface yet. This includes shooting, healing, abilities, etc. However, once you land out of bounds and the true 15-second timer is active, you won't be able to use any weapons or abilities until you leave the timer. Now, as far as using abilities to prolong and potentially exploit this mechanic, I'll need to refer you to my previous video on out-of-bound exploits. Everything in that video still works, but you have to make sure you avoid the invisible timer's restrictions. Now you perfectly understand the out-of-bounds mechanics. I'm Dirty Skirty, and you're fucking welcome.